Hi, I'm Mike Groesser, and this is my wife.
I'm Abby Groesser.
And we started attending Fuquay-Varina, I guess, 2 to 3 years ago. It was during COVID. So we've always been lifelong church attenders. And I think we really just found our home here pretty quickly.
Absolutely. I think one thing that stood out was a church body that we felt comfortable inviting anyone we encountered to come experience with us. We've been able to build a community and join along with the existing community so effortlessly. Has been wonderful.
You know, I think for both of us, giving has always been a part of our lives, and specifically this term called tithing. For us, we were taught it as an early age, just simply means giving 10%. Even when we first got married, I remember sitting down after I got my first job. I was so excited. I thought, I'm gonna have so much money. This is gonna be great. I remember sitting down with Excel and going through it and realizing there wasn't really much there actually at all. We were barely squeaking by on rent, things like that. And I remember sitting there and I had that moment of, were we gonna do this or not? You know, how we grew up and what we were taught. Were we gonna stick to it when the rubber really hit the road? And that's when it started for us. We really made that decision to lean in and start giving a tithe even from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think that early time in our marriage, whenever we made a commitment to really make tithing a priority, it helped us not to make money a big focus in our marriage.
When the money first comes in, we make it an automated practice to give every month. So to give that 10% really as the beginning. And I think that's consistent with what we see in the Bible, and that's kind of our conviction is it's that giving by faith and really kind of challenging our faith of, do we believe that God can provide for us if we give the 10% right off the top and live on the rest of the 90?
Right. I think it's helpful to think of it as like a spiritual discipline, like a very intentional thing that we get to do on a monthly basis, as really like an act of worship. And I think it helps to remind my flesh that this is not my money. If I close my hand, close my fist, I am not going to be able to share in God's blessings, but it's just an act of worship to remind myself that God is going to take care of me.
You know, there's a story in the book of Leviticus where God talks about the importance of, for the Israelites who had fields, that they were farmers, that they had to leave the corners of the fields. And the corners were for the foreigner, they were for the poor and the widow. That visual has always stuck with me as we've thought about giving and money and how we do things. And it's really a great mental picture for me of margin in life, of how am I'm not a farmer, far from it, but when we spend money or when we plan money and we take money in, how are we leaving the margins on the corners?
I think another part of that too is that whenever you live with margin and you're able to give the corners of the field, you get to see so much of God's work. You get to rejoice in the projects that other people are doing. Even if I'm not able to volunteer on every mission trip or every committee, I still get to be a part and I get to rejoice in their successes because my tithe or my gift has gone toward that ministry as well.